A rice delivery boy. That's all he was. No education past elementary school. No wealthy family. No connections. A dream so audacious that everyone called him crazy. Today, that boy's company sells a car every 3 seconds somewhere in the world. This is the story of how Chung Ju-yung turned absolute poverty into Hyundai, one of the most powerful conglomerates on earth. And the strategies he used, they'll change how you think about building a business forever. If you're building a startup, running a business, or just trying to figure out how to turn nothing into something, this story is your blueprint. Because Chung Ju-yung didn't just build a car company. He built ships without knowing how to build ships. He constructed highways with no engineering degree. He entered industries where he had zero experience and dominated them all. And here's what makes this even more remarkable. He did it in a country devastated by war with an economy that had been reduced to rubble. South Korea in the 1950s had a GDP per capita lower than some African nations. Today, it's the 10th largest economy in the world, and Hyundai played a massive role in that transformation. So, how did he do it? Let's break down the 6 critical strategies that took Chung Ju-yung from rice delivery boy to industrial titan. Stay with me, because strategy number 4 is the one most entrepreneurs completely miss. Let's go back to 1915. Chung Ju-yung was born in Asan, a tiny farming village in what is now North Korea. His family was dirt poor. We're talking about a level of poverty that's hard for most of us to even imagine. They lived hand to mouth, farming rice on land they didn't even own. By age 11, Chung was working full-time, not going to school, working. He dropped out of elementary school to help his family survive. No middle school, no high school, definitely no business degree from Harvard. Just back-breaking labor in rice paddies. But here's where the first lesson emerges. Constraint breeds creativity. When you have nothing to lose, you take risks that comfortable people never take. Chung ran away from home not once, not twice, but 4 times, trying to escape that life of poverty. Each time, his father dragged him back. But that burning desire to build something more, that never left. Resilience isn't taught in classrooms, it's forged in hardship. The entrepreneurs who succeed aren't always the smartest or most educated. They're the ones who've been knocked down so many times that failure becomes just another Tuesday. When Chung finally made it to Seoul at age 22, he had exactly enough money for the trip. That's it, no safety net, no backup plan. And that desperation, that became his superpower. Which brings us to how he got his first break and the strategy that would define his entire career. Chung's first job in Seoul was at a rice store. He delivered rice. That's it. Nothing glamorous, nothing impressive. But watch what he did with that opportunity, because this is where most people miss the lesson. He didn't just deliver rice. He studied the business. He watched how the owner negotiated with suppliers, how he managed inventory, how he priced products, how he built customer relationships. He turned a minimum wage job into an MBA program. And then at age 24, he made his move. He opened his own rice store called Kyung-il Rice Store. Not a tech startup, not a revolutionary product, a rice store. But here's the strategy. Start where you can, with what you have, but always think 10 steps ahead. Chung didn't see himself as a rice store owner. He saw himself as someone who understood commerce, supply chains, and customer needs. The rice store was just chapter 1. Within a few years, he pivoted to construction, opening Hyundai Civil Works Company in 1947. Hyundai means modernity, in Korean. Think about that. A guy with an elementary school education naming his company Modernity. The audacity alone is inspiring. Your first business doesn't have to be your forever business, but it has to teach you the fundamentals. How to sell, how to manage money, how to solve problems, how to serve customers. Every billion-dollar company started with something much smaller. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because in 1950, Korea was about to be torn apart by war, and most businesses collapsed. Hyundai was about to explode. June 25th, 1950. North Korea invades South Korea. The country is devastated. Infrastructure destroyed. Economy shattered. Millions dead or displaced. For most business owners, this meant the end. For Chung Ju-yung, this was the beginning. While others fled or hid, Chung saw what nobody else saw. Someone was going to have to rebuild this country. Why not him? He made a gutsy decision. He approached the US, military forces and South Korean government with a pitch, "I'll rebuild the infrastructure. Bridges, roads, airfields. Give me the contracts." Remember, he had almost no formal engineering training. He didn't have massive equipment. He didn't have an established reputation. But he had something more valuable: absolute conviction and the willingness to figure it out. He won the contracts. And here's the crazy part. He delivered. He taught himself engineering principles on the job. He hired talented people and learned from them. He worked 18-hour days alongside his workers. By the end of the Korean War in 1953, Hyundai had become the go-to construction company for infrastructure projects. They built the Patton Bridge over the Nakdong River, one of the first major reconstruction projects. They built airfields, highways, and government buildings. While everyone sees a crisis, great entrepreneurs see a vacuum waiting to be filled. They ask, what does the world desperately need right now that nobody else is providing? Then they build it, even if they have no idea how to build it when they start. This is what separates the billion-dollar founders from everyone else. They don't wait until they're qualified. They commit first, then figure out the qualifications later. By the 1960s, Hyundai Construction was the largest construction firm in Korea. But Chung wasn't satisfied because he understood something that most entrepreneurs never learn. This is the strategy most entrepreneurs completely miss, and it's the one that turned Hyundai from a successful company into an unstoppable empire. Chung Ju-yung didn't just want to build things. He wanted to control the entire supply chain. He wanted to own every step of the process, from raw materials to finished product. Think about it. If you're building highways, you need cement. So Hyundai bought cement factories. You need steel? Hyundai built steel mills. You need to transport materials? Hyundai created its own shipping company, which became Hyundai Merchant Marine, one of the largest shipping companies in the world. And then came the decision that would define Hyundai forever. In 1967, Chung decided to enter the automotive industry. Everyone told him he was insane. Korea had no automotive industry, no expertise, no infrastructure. Toyota and Ford had decades of experience. Why would a construction company think it could build cars? But Chung saw the logic. We're already building everything else. Why not cars? He partnered with Ford initially to learn the technology. Then, just 8 years later, in 1975, Hyundai released the Pony, the first Korean-made car. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't perfect, but it existed. Vertical integration isn't just about owning more stuff. It's about reducing dependencies, controlling quality, cutting costs, and moving faster than competitors who rely on external suppliers. Look at Tesla. They build their own batteries, their own software, even their own charging infrastructure. Look at Amazon. They went from selling books to owning cloud computing, logistics, and even grocery stores. This is the Hyundai playbook. By the 1980s, Hyundai had become a chaebol, a Korean conglomerate with divisions in construction, automotive, electronics, shipbuilding, and finance. They didn't just compete in markets, they created entire industries. But Chung's most brilliant move was still to come. In 1972, Chung Ju-yung made a bet that was so crazy, even his own executives thought he'd lost his mind. He decided to build the world's largest shipbuilding facility in a country with almost no shipbuilding experience. Let that sink in. He wanted to compete with Japan, which had dominated shipbuilding for decades. He had no shipyard, no ships, no orders, nothing. Banks laughed at him. Competitors dismissed him. Even the Korean government was skeptical. But here's where Chung revealed his genius. He flew to Greece and convinced a Greek shipping magnate to place 2 massive tanker orders before the shipyard even existed. Then he took those orders to the banks and said, "Look, I already have customers. Now give me the loan to build the shipyard." It worked. Hyundai Heavy Industries was born, and within a decade, it became the largest shipbuilding company in the world. Not just in Korea, in the world. Calculated audacity means taking risks that seem insane to others, but only after you've done the homework, secured the demand, and created a clear path to execution. It's not recklessness, it's strategic boldness backed by preparation. This is the mindset that separates good entrepreneurs from legendary ones. Most people wait for perfect conditions. Chung created the conditions through sheer force of will. But there's one final lesson from his life that might be the most important of all. Chung Ju-yung passed away in 2001 at the age of 85. By then, Hyundai had become one of the world's most powerful conglomerates, employing hundreds of thousands of people and generating tens of billions in revenue. But here's what made him different from many other billionaire founders. He never forgot where he came from. He was known for walking factory floors, eating meals with workers, and sleeping in construction site trailers. He believed that the people building the products were just as important as the executives designing them. He also had a vision beyond profit. He wanted to transform South Korea from a war-torn, impoverished nation into a global economic power, and he succeeded. The greatest entrepreneurs don't just build companies, they build movements. They create opportunities for others, and they leave their countries and industries better than they found them. Today, Hyundai Motor Company is the 3rd largest automaker in the world. Hyundai Heavy Industries builds everything from container ships to offshore platforms. The Hyundai name is everywhere because one man refused to accept the limitations that poverty, war, and lack of education placed on him. So here's the real question. What limitations are you accepting in your life right now? What industry are you avoiding because you think you're not qualified? What big bet are you not taking because everyone says it's too risky? Chung Ju-young's story teaches us that your starting point doesn't determine your ending point. Your education doesn't define your ceiling. Your circumstances don't dictate your destiny. What matters is your resilience when everything falls apart, your vision when everyone else sees obstacles, your willingness to start small but think massive, your courage to turn chaos into opportunity, your strategic audacity when others retreat, and your commitment to building something bigger than yourself. If you're building something right now, whether it's a startup, a side hustle, or a personal brand, I want you to remember this. Somewhere in 1930s Korea, a rice delivery boy decided he was going to change the world. And he did. If this story inspired you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because every week we break down the strategies and stories of the world's most successful entrepreneurs so you can apply them to your own business journey. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 6 strategies resonates most with your entrepreneurial journey right now? I read every single comment and I love hearing your perspectives.